Hey characters, it's Yodasa. I just wanted to talk about being a writer. Sometimes you can struggle with creation and being creative and thinking about the next thing, but one thing that always inspires me is that there's so much to learn, and I love being curious and knowing things. I'm really passionate also, like in a geeky way, about biology and sociology. I love knowing things about like human behavior and communication habits and how like development between human beings and societies and cultures and what that says about us. And I also really love biology, knowing how nature works, how evolution and development and like animals and insects are so interesting to me. And I really find that those are the two fields that have really inspired my writing as a fiction, fantasy, sci-fi writer. Like I love learning about the world and about people makes me so curious about more that it just makes me question even more about what could be the next step. Or like I really love, for example, when I was growing up watching Discovery Channel, like watching those like long marathons that they would have about like insects where you would just deep dive into every single thing, and by the end of like 5 hours you're like, well, ask me anything about an ant and I bet I can answer it. So I really love like gathering knowledge in that way. One thing I wanted to share with you specifically tonight is a little like nature story that really resonates with me because it's beautiful and it's about transformation, and it's about the caterpillar to butterfly transition. So in the truth of what's happening, it goes so drastically from one phase to another, from this small crawling hairy thing to this light translucent flying insect, that to me it's so interesting what is happening inside the chrysalis, that it goes from one phase to another. And I read recently this Facebook post that reminded me of my curiosity and love of butterflies, because while they're in the chrysalis, they literally like lose all of themselves from becoming from the caterpillar. They turn into goo while they're inside the chrysalis. They just lose all shape and form and basically liquefy themselves, and then slowly reform into the butterfly while inside. So from goo, they form themselves into this beautiful new creature, and then know exactly when it's time to emerge into the world and to share this new thing that they've become. And I find that so interesting. Like, what's happening inside there? That, like, transition that's just magical inside there. And I also love that, the connection that this is just kind of like a secret time and a secret place just for the butterfly to just hide itself, the caterpillar to hide itself away while it's becoming something different. And something that's interesting about biology and the study of it is that there's always so many different researches that can add layers to your understanding of things. So one research that I want to share with you is that researchers took caterpillars and they played a sound and then kind of gave some of the caterpillars a zap. So they played a sound and zapped them. So then the caterpillars became conditioned to hearing a sound and being zapped, hearing a sound and being zapped, which was not nice for them. I'm pretty sure it was possibly not nice. Then they were allowed to go into the time where they become the chrysalis, because they become something new. They're liquefying, and then they emerged into butterflies. And so the scientists were really curious to see if the caterpillars remember what happened now that they're new butterflies. So they played the sound. They allowed the butterflies to merge with other butterflies. They played the sound, and the butterflies that had been conditioned while they were caterpillars started flying frantically in obvious reaction to the sound, because they remembered what it was the connection when they were caterpillars that the sound meant pain. They remembered, even though they had gone through this liquefaction and transition and became something different and emerged with their friends, and they still remembered. Even through the liquefaction process, they're still the same being and having the same experiences logged in their memory, even though they're different and now they can fly and they're new beings. They're still the same beings from the crawling, hairy little guy. And I find that beautiful. So that's definitely possibly something more than likely going to arrive in one of my stories. This crazy transition and knowing things and becoming something new. I feel like I'm something new. Thanks for listening.